All right. So once you're out of Mormonism for a certain amount of time, all of those emotional ties and those connections and that belief system kind of sheds. It untangles, and you can just kind of have a new life. And you look at Mormonism, it feels like this weird, distant past. And the best way I can explain it to people is, let's say you're Mormon or whatever religion you're, or you're Christian. Okay, you're Mormon or Christian, and a Muslim comes and they start preaching to you about the punishment that's coming because you don't believe in Allah, the one true God. Now, they've got fire and fury in their eyes, and they're so angry at you for being Mormon or Christian. And I want you to just see how you feel. You just don't care. You feel nothing. There's no emotional attachment to it. You kind of see them as, yeah, they're a little crazy. They've got their own beliefs. That's how the world feels about Mormonism. It's like if somebody came and they were telling you about Zeus and the Greek gods and how you're going to be held accountable and Hades and things. It's just you maybe smile, but you're not going to lose any sleep over it. That's how I feel about Mormonism, and that's how most of the world feels about Mormonism. When you're entangled in this web of belief, you think it's really important because we're these social creatures, and we generally get our cues from what is important from what other people think is important. Um, and that's kind of like with pop music. It's there's kind of this effect where if you play it a bunch, this is what they used to do. They just play it a bunch, and then it becomes popular. And because other people are talking about it, other people like it. It's this kind of um, interesting effect of human nature. And I think with Mormonism, once you get outside of it and you stop talking about it, like I just remember there's so much conversation about knowing it's the one true church. You've got to get a testimony, and people are talking about it like it's really important, and people are saying that they know it's the one true church. But this might just be gabbity-gook. It's just gibberish. Like, is Mormonism the one true church? It's kind of like this isn't a question anybody cares about other than inside of Mormonism. And another example from my life that I thought was really interesting, I was reflecting on, was when I was in 11th grade. I went to this, I was really into guitar and music. And I had some friends in California who told me about this arts high school called the Los Angeles County High School for the Arts, LOXA. And I went for 11th grade. And before that, I didn't listen to jazz. I listened to rock, metal, alternative. But being there immersed in this culture where everybody played jazz, we practiced jazz, you start to think it's really important. And it was good. I love jazz now. And I'm glad for that experience. But it was interesting to see how, because I was in this, bubble where this is all we talked about, it became really important to me at a gut emotional level. And this is an interesting thing too. You have to realize is we have our rational brain, but then there's our feeling brain, and we are very much more feeling creatures than we like to believe. And we often find ourselves doing what we feel like doing rather than what our rational brain might say is best for us. We can train that, getting over limbic friction and things. But the point being is, once you leave Mormonism, your nervous system is still wired with those core values. So when I started shopping on Sunday, I would feel guilty for a while. I'd be like, oh, wait, man, I'm at Target and it's Sunday. I hope nobody sees me. And this is completely irrational. I no longer believed it. But when you're inside of Mormonism, you're taught to believe that that's a spirit telling you. So that guilt and shame you feel when you break the Mormon commandments, that's a spirit, that's something real telling you you're doing something wrong. But all it is conditioning. I remember the story of the Muslim girl soccer player, and her burqa came off in the middle of the game, and she's, all the girls surrounded her and, helped her put her burqa back on. And, like her feeling intense shame for that. It's easy to see as an outsider. That's completely conditioned. There's no objective shame for your burqa coming off. There's nothing objective about this Sunday. It's not like it's an internal thing. And the only way you experience that is after a while, when you see both sides. When you, at one point in your life, you felt guilty for shopping on Sunday, and at a certain time, you just feel great pleasure for going out and shopping because there's slightly fewer people in Utah. um, and it's inside the bubble. It's, it creates these blinders where you're living this experience that you think is this genuine. Your feelings are connected to God and to the Spirit, and other people's they're just made up. But it's fun being on the outside and seeing both. You see how much of life is made up, and it's actually kind of fun. And I think for certain personalities, it's hard standing in that void after Mormonism and kind of having to own your beliefs internally. And it'd be interesting if other people have had this experience. I had a hard time because my whole life, everything, all values came externally. So it's important because it says so in the scriptures. It's important because your church leaders say so. It's this out. So they kind of, and this is kind of a brainwashing thing, I think, especially in the MTC, it's, you get disconnected from your core passions. Maybe I just want to play guitar and have fun. But no, that's bad because you're a servant of the Lord. And so what you should want to do is preach the gospel and build Mormonism. And to a certain extent, because they program you that way, you start to want to do that. And there's other human motivation is a lot more complex than what I'm making it out to be. And it's not to say, in the mission, I had some genuinely good experiences, and nothing's black or white. And I think one thing that can help people in transitioning is you can value the good inside of Mormonism. The structure and the good people I think there's people who genuinely in the church, they care for you. And I think that's valuable. I think it's healthy in the transition process from Mormonism is people do go through a time of being very angry and being very cynical. And I got resigned about all things spiritual and religious for a long time. I was atheist. I'd say agnostic, but just kind of like, okay, let's go this route of just complete rationality and reason and science. And I think that's fantastic. There is a mode of thinking. There's so much to be learned through that. Now I am back to kind of a spiritualistic place. I do believe I find myself in awe of this great mystery of existence, and sometimes just feeling connected to something more than just random chance. And that's me. Everybody, the thing that's great outside of Mormonism, it's not, you don't have to conform to this thing. You get to actually explore your own thoughts and your feelings and your own intuitions and come up with what feels right for you. One thought in kind of a spiritualistic realm is, this idea that maybe this is Eastern thought, but the universe is consciousness. Consciousness is the universe experiencing its creation. And so sometimes I like to reflect on my uniqueness. And it's like, well, what are the unique things that I want to experience that whatever the universe, the consciousness, God is experiencing through my experience? There's different modes of thinking. I'm not saying that's the way it is or this is divine truth, but what's nice is exploring ideas. And that's one thing too, is generally people who rank really high in openness to experience. I'm going off of a personality model, the Big Five, and we can do another video on this, but generally there's some people who they rank really high in openness and they're creative, and other people aren't. Most people actually don't have a drive to do creative things, and there's nothing wrong with that. We actually need, in a society, most people kind of keep the status quo going, and that's a good thing. Other people are a little bit more open and creative, and that's just by luck of the draw of nature. That's kind of my personality. I've always just doodled and made things and drawn, and mostly now I do music and explore ideas, and it's just something I love. If you're like me, Mormonism's not going to be a super good fit for a long time. There's an intellectual side of Mormonism. You get into the philosophical stuff, and it's fun doing the mental gymnastics. But after a while, I couldn't authentically keep the show going. I was like, this just doesn't make sense, and I don't have to pretend it makes sense. Other people, Mormonism is a great fit for certain personality types. If you're just kind of I think for people, they like the social aspect of it sometimes, and they just like that certainty, and they like believing that they know the truth, that they're in the right path. They don't want to deal with the ambiguities. And honestly, it takes a lot of energy and mental brain power and work to kind of forge your own worldview. And this is like not being condescending at all, like, oh, I forge my own worldview and all those other, cogs. No, it's just, that's not what I'm saying. It's just recognizing this has been, there's things out of my control, like personality. And this has just been a very interesting journey, full of a lot of chaos and a lot of, it's like leaving Mormonism. I was talking to one of my friends, but it's kind of like I have this family and you have the ship out at sea, and you're having to rebuild your ship without it sinking while you're at sea. And it's just this interesting thing. So I don't know. I am just happy. It's taken me a long time, but I think I've really connected with just a lot of my core things that I cut off, just my core nature and my passions that I cut off during, my teen years and through with Mormonism. And it's intense. Like when you're outside of Mormonism and you look at other religions, Mormonism is extremely intense. You don't get it when you're inside. Like, this is odd. Like, it's very culty. There's no other way to put it. It's very culty. And if you're inside of it, I know you can't see it, and maybe that's a phase. I think Mormonism could be an upgrade for certain people, like that worldview. And I think at certain stages of life, maybe life is weird, the universe is weird, existence is weird, and I'm just trying to enjoy the time I have, enjoy life, finally just be myself and laugh at funny things, and just let my dark humor and sarcasm shine. And I hope you guys are doing well. I know this, it can be really a lot harder. I had it kind of easy leaving. A lot of my family isn't Mormon. My wife, we were both questioning at the same time. And I know a lot of people come from families where, like, it's really painful leaving. And I feel for you. You can reach out to me if if there's any way I can be of help. But it's if you come from a very kind of traditional family with people who just like the certainty of it, and you're kind of a black sheep, I know you can lose a lot of your friends and your family, and I'm sure that's a terrible experience. And one thing that I just see with Mormonism, the belief system and the values are so complicated and contradictory and convoluted, it just creates a lot of suffering. Quite frankly, like, when you believe that the most important thing in life is for your kids and for people to be Mormon, and when you tie up all this salvation and eternity into it, and then that person you love turns from Mormonism, logically it creates a lot of drama. And people are living in their, these little belief spheres in their head. And this drama, it's completely fabricated from a bunch of fiction and beliefs that most of the world doesn't share. But the experience is real. I mean, the pain and the suffering and the turmoil people create in their heads, it's hell. And it's nice being away from that. It's just this endless web of drama, I think, inside of Mormonism, when people really believe it and trying to control everybody. And it's just so nice seeing outside. It's just, you just look at in Mormonism when, especially years ago, when if your child came out gay or lesbian, the earth-shattering drama and the tears and the pain and the angst. And you just compare that to like a normal secular family, and it's like kind of just, oh, okay, like it's like, oh, we love you. Yeah, I can see that. Okay, well, how can we support you? It's there's no drama. And I just look at how dramatic life is inside of Mormonism. Just so dramatic. Like in the mission, we are servants of the Lord Jesus Christ, here to save souls and baptize people into the highest kingdom of. It's just like, oh my God, can we stop? can we stop the drama? Oh my gosh. So anyway, love you guys. I don't know. This is kind of a rambly video, but I wanted to say hi. I've been so disconnected from the Mormon world, and I don't know. I just wanted to hop back in and say what's up. So see you guys. Bye.